fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Robots in Disguise 2001 Universe Autobot Sideburn from the Transformers Legacy United line from Hasbro. So getting back to the few stragglers I have, I think this completes Wave 3 for me. Very excited to take a look at this one. I'm a huge fan of Robots in Disguise 2001, or Car Robots as it was known in Japan. This guy's name in Car Robots was Speedbreaker. I hope we get the rest of the Autobot brothers eventually. I don't know if they'll be coming in the Age of the Primes line. We now know that Legacy is ending after this year, and we're getting that new Age of the Primes line, which looks really, really cool. So I don't know if that's going to be very G1 centric, although we know we're getting, Red Alert from Armada, so might be continuing with the, pulling from different fiction. Hopefully we'll get more Car Robots characters in the future, but that's a long way around of saying, here's Sideburn, very excited to check him out. Here's some nice artwork of the vehicle mode here on the front. Then we have some cool pics of the robot mode over here on this side. Got your standard half of the Legacy United mural over here. Not really anything going on the bottom. Got the Legacy United logo there on the top. Spinning it around to the back, some nice product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. So I'm going to go ahead, get them out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Sideburn, or Speedbreaker, out of the packaging. And I think they did a pretty good job with this. I like the flames here on the sides. That will become the doors for the car mode. And the original toy, transformed fairly similar to this. It did have these panels here hanging on the back. It had the top of the door as a shield on the arm. And then he had a gun here. This was a back section of the car. That was a spring-loaded shooter. Now, what they've done here, he did have the kind of bumper gun that was one gun. And then he had a separate gun that looked fairly similar to this. So they've kind of combined those two things together, because he did also have the front bumper hanging on the shoulder, and then the back bumper was a gun. I really wish there was a way that you could take this piece if you wanted and kind of peg it into the shoulder. I think that would really complete the look. If there was some kind of like peg hole on the shoulder there, something like that, I think that would have gone a long way, but it was the front bumper anyway, and this is definitely the back bumper, so it wouldn't have been exactly the same anyway, but it would have been kind of neat. And we can just peg this back onto the gun here to kind of, simulate that back bumper gun that the original toy had. So pretty decent in terms of, looking like the original, not exactly the same, but pretty good. You do have this shield piece here. This just pegs into the forearm, so if you don't like that look, you can take that off if you want. You can peg that onto the back here. I think it'll peg into one of these. No, maybe not actually. Those look a little small, but you can peg it in here on the back. You'd have to put these down, and then you could peg this in here. It has these double joints, so every time I want to peg it in somewhere, it tries to condense down, but it is possible to do. Just might be a little tricky, and whatever, you get the idea. Basically, you would peg it in, and then it would have to either stick straight out, which you could do. You could leave it like that, or you could condense it down on one of the sides, something like that. I like the look of it on the forearm, honestly, because again, I feel like that's what the original toy looked like, so that's what I like to try to recreate. But we'll take all the accessories off for now so we can get a better look at the robot. I think they did a really good job with the head sculpt. Very reminiscent of the original toy, nicely painted. You have the red eyes, you have that little kind of viewfinder over the left eye there. Rest of the face is done pretty well. So that's on a ball joint. You can go side to side. You have a little bit of back and forth wiggle room there. Can't really tilt side to side all that much. The arms are actually connected into this back section, which can be a little weird because it feels like they should be over here. But you do get a swivel and a hinge, so you can get the articulation you want there. You have a bicep swivel, 90 degrees there in the elbow. You have a wrist swivel as well. If we move these panels out of the way, you have a waist swivel right there, and you have all that really nice detail there on the chest. Very reminiscent of the original figure. Kick pretty far forward. Kick pretty far back if you get those panels out of the way, and then you can kick really nice out to the side. You have a thigh swivel. You have 90 degrees there in the knee, and then you have some ankle tilt side to side, as well as a little bit of front to back because of the transformation. So you can go this way. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, this is not the first time we've seen this mold. They kind of did a pre-tool of it with Cyberverse Shadow Striker. And I wish for Shadow Striker that they had changed the chest in some way, because, you know, that's not Shadow Striker at all. But it was decent for Shadow Striker, but of course I think it works even better here for Sideburn, because this was, you know, the mold was made for Sideburn here and then just kind of used for Shadow Striker. But you can see some different molding here in the crotch area. Chest is pretty much the same, obviously new head. Little bit of molding there. Well, I should say the molding's the same, but there's a little bit more paint here that's not over here. But for the most part, you know, pretty much the same mold with the exception of the head. And actually, this might be, I think the molding might be the same. It's just painted differently now that I look at it. Yeah, it actually is. So the head's the only thing that's different, but they've used a couple paint applications to make it look a little different, which, you know, if it works, I say it works. And of course, she doesn't have the flames on the side of the doors there. But yeah, overall, pretty much the same mold, but I do think it's better for the character that it was intended for, which makes sense. So let's go ahead, let's get into transformation. Alright, so for simplicity of transformation, I've taken off all the accessories. You're going to start by coming around here to the backpack and kind of popping this section down, and then this will actually accordion all the way out. So you're going to make sure that these doors are all the way down as far as they can go, and then this section will come up and straighten out all the way like that. Let me zoom out here. At this point, you can just kind of put the arms straight out, and you can unhook these sections. Actually put them out like this. And this will flip around. So you want the arms to be straight out like that. And at this point, kind of rotate the hands so that the bottoms of the hands are facing up. Then you're going to come around to this section and flip up the feet, like so. If you have the knees open like this, you're going to want to push them up until you kind of hear them click into place so that they're all the way up as far as they can go. And if you have any of the ankle tilt used, engaged there, just straighten that out. You're going to take this section here and flip this up. Flip these little sections out here. And then you want to come underneath here. And it can be a little difficult to get this panel here to flip around. But there we go, like that. Then you're going to let that kind of hover there. So you're going to bring the legs 180. And there's actually a little slot right here on the side of the thigh, which is going to tab in here. And you can kind of use the thigh swivel to make this a little easier. Kind of line it up and then push that in. And then that will allow you to bring the foot up. And the foot, you can see that there is a tab right here that will tab into the foot. So do that, and then we will replicate that over here with this one. So leave this up, bring this in and peg that in, and then peg in the foot. There we go. Once you have that done, you can then bring this section down over the front to form the front of the vehicle. Now, for some reason, I have trouble. This never wants to tab in. You can see that there is a little tab here, and whenever I bring this down, these always try to pop out to the side, so I have to kind of push them in. But basically, you want this to come down, and you want this to tab into the side of it. So it can be a little persnickety, but you can get it in there. There we go. And then if the feet come unpegged, which for whatever reason mine like to do, just get that all pegged back in there. And then you have the front of the vehicle. At this point, you can close the doors. You can see that there's a spot right here that they will peg into. So there is most of the vehicle. At this point, we're going to bring the arms down. There are 2 tab slots right here and here, and they will tab onto these tabs right here and here. So bring this down and tab that in. For whatever reason, the hands on mine or the forearms on mine don't really like to tab in, or they'll pop the feet out. So just kind of give it a good squeeze, but there you go. That should be what you're looking for. So there is the robot transformed into the vehicle without any of the accessories. It's a convertible, as you can see. We're going to take this section here, the back bumper, and we are going to tab these two spots here onto here and here. So just line that up. And also the big peg is going to peg in right there. So line that all up. And that will tab in there. And then you're going to take this. And honestly, you can peg it into either one of the arms. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. Just go ahead and drop that in. And then you'll kind of accordion it down. And you can see that there are two tabs right here and here. And that will tab into these spots underneath. So just bring this down and tab that all in. And you are pretty much done. There is Sideburn in vehicle mode. So Sideburn in vehicle mode looks pretty good. Honestly, I think all they really would have had to do is this shield, roof of the car piece. If they would have just made it a little bit larger so that it just kind of came up and formed a more natural contour of the car, because I don't really have any trouble with, like, this all looks fine, the doors are fine, it's just the top of the car has been, like, completely flattened there, and it just makes the car look so small. All they would have to do is take this piece off and kind of replace it with a little bit larger piece that just has a little bit more of a natural contour. And maybe some third-party company could do something like that, because this piece lifts right off. So everything else about it, I really don't have a problem with. The back bumper and everything I think is fine. It's just the shield piece. If someone could just make a new shield piece that's just a little bit bigger and just kind of, gives the car a little bit more normal proportions, I think this would be great. I just think, they wanted to go with a flat shield, which I get, but it just made the top of the car just look really, really flat. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with them. Mine, for whatever reason, doesn't really like to 100% peg in and stay all together, and maybe I'm missing something. That's very possible, but it definitely feels like it just doesn't quite want to stay down or stay all 100% pegged together. So I'll have to mess with that more later. But overall, I think he does look pretty cool, and I'm happy to have Sideburn here with a new version. I do also kind of wish, like, the way the front of the car is done, I kind of wish that was a little bit more rounded. But overall, I don't mind it. Yeah, I kind of like this pretty much. I do actually like it. Like I said, it's just the flatness of the car. But it rolls well, and it definitely looks like Sideburn. So, again, just happy to have more Car Robots characters. So we're pretty good. So I also just want to do a quick little group shot with the few Car Robots characters we have gotten recently. We have Black Convoy and Wrecker Hook. Really hoping we get the rest of the Autobot brothers one day, but at least we have that Fire Convoy and God Magnus set coming from the HasLab really soon, or relatively soon. I think it's still like mid to late next year, something like that, but been seeing a lot of pictures recently and they look really good. So very excited for that. Hoping we get some more characters in the future. We know we have like a new version of Bruticus coming soon, and I would not be mad to get that repainted as Ruination or Balgigas, whatever he was called in Japan. Would not be, like, they always do like G2 repaints, like, do Ruination this time. Like, I think that'd be really fun. Would really bolster these ranks, and also just something that I don't think they've ever officially done. I think Japan did it back in the day with Combiner Wars Bruticus, but this one theoretically should be even better, so I would really like to get a repaint officially, maybe like a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, something like that as a gift set. Could be pretty cool. But in any case, here are the Car Robots characters that we have so far. Hoping for some more soon. So at the end of the day, I think Sideburn's fun. He's definitely not perfect. I mean, honestly, I like the head sculpt. I like the articulation. I like the paint applications. For the most part, the accessories are good. My biggest problem comes from this shield piece that's made up of the roof of the car and all the windows and everything. It's just too flat for the vehicle mode. It looks fine here in robot mode, and I think that's kind of what they prioritized. But I just feel like it should be a little bigger, a little, like the normal contour of a car. It makes it seem too squashed flat in vehicle mode. If they would have just done a little bit more of a concave angle or something, just to make it look a little bit more natural in vehicle mode. And like I said, maybe a third-party company could do something like that. Since this piece can come completely off, it could easily be replaced by something else if somebody else wanted to make one of those or 3D print a new piece or something like that. It could be interesting. But for the most part, I think he's fun. I'm definitely excited to see more Car Robots characters getting updates. Although, honestly, a lot of those original figures were pretty great. I mean, the original Car Robots Autobot Brothers set, it's really, really good action figures. They still really hold up in terms of articulation and everything. How well does the physical plastic still hold up? I don't know. I haven't checked on mine in a while, and knock on wood, I'm going to assume that they're still great. But it's just fun to see these characters again. So I like this probably more than I should because I have a little bit of nostalgia goggles on. Objectively, it's a fine figure. It could be better. It could be worse. I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than what they did with Shadow Striker. Again, this mold was intended to be Sideburn, so it suits him better, if that makes sense. It was fine as Shadow Striker, but I feel like it's even better here. So yeah, like I said, I have a little bit of bias, so I really enjoy it. Is it the best Sideburn speed breaker out there? Maybe not. Maybe the original is technically better, but if you had no way of getting the original and you just want a fun update, I think this one will definitely tide you over or make you happy, and very excited to put it alongside that new Fire Convoy we're getting from the HasLab. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.